Hey, it's Kelly. Welcome back to my channel where we talk all about how to glow from the inside out. And today it's time for July favorites, the video where I share with you all the skincare, beauty products, and self-care practices that help me glow this month. If you're so ready, give the video a big thumbs up and let's get started. Cocokind Magnesium Calming Mist. I've been really into this mist this summer, but especially this month. I have definitely been feeling that like summer bummer skin lately. This is just like a mix of all the different things that summer brings to my skin that kind of stress it out. Definitely sun exposure. A little bit too much sun exposure, even with sunscreen can just sort of like test your skin barrier. And definitely if you have sensitive skin, it can kind of, flare that up just a little bit if you spend a bit too much time outside sweating. It's been really hot this month, and sweat is such a trigger for, irritation on my skin, but also for eczema. And, I love my hot baths, but with the heat and the humidity and then the hot, water, that definitely tests my skin barrier. And of course, I love my actives as well, especially my retinaldehyde. I can't give you up, my AHAs, and those just kind of make all the other stuff I just talked about. The balance is very delicate, and there always comes a point every summer where I'm like, ugh, all my skin wants is just like ceramides and hydration, right? Like it just needs something very simple. It is such a summer bummer. And this mist has been really helpful when I'm feeling that kind of way. You know what I'm saying? It's a very minimal formula. They're really focusing in on the magnesium PCA. And this is definitely something that just kind of helps to revive your skin when it's feeling stressed out and a little bit irritated. It can also help with just skin health and with your skin barrier. They're also using biosaccharides. So this is actually an ingredient that helps to reduce redness. It also helps with your skin barrier. And I do find when my skin is in this like bummer, sun-stunned state, it definitely just has this very mild but still very visible kind of redness all over because my skin just feels inflamed and just irritated. So the way I like to use this is right after I wash my face, I like to put a layer of this mist on. It has a really beautiful fine misting application. And so it just gives a really nice even thin layer on the skin. It absorbs in very, very quickly. This is like a treatment mist. It's not something that is providing a blast of hydration into the skin necessarily, but it is really about getting those key ingredients into your skin to calm down the inflammation, help reduce the redness. They're also, I didn't mention, they're also using an ingredient in here, polylysine, which can actually help to reduce breakouts. And I will say, if my skin gets very irritated, very inflamed, my skin barrier is weak, I'm more prone to acne and to pimples. So it's nice to have these types of ingredients that kind of help to fight the pimples before they even start, right? But this is a treatment mist, I guess is my point, right? It's not very, very hydrating. It does deliver this really nice, fine, even mist all over the skin. It's quickly absorbed. It's a thin texture, quickly absorbed in the skin. No stickiness, no greasiness. So my favorite way, like I said, washing my face, a layer of this, moving on with the rest of my normal skincare routine. This just adds that layer of comfort and soothing to my skincare routine. Sometimes I do also put a layer like in between my toner and essence and serum just to get a little extra blast of the ingredients. And, sometimes kind of re-moistening your skincare layers kind of helps it absorb into your skin a little bit better too. So can kind of function two ways there. And I do notice that it can, with more long-term use, it does help mildly with the redness. If you have a lot of redness, you want to add a lot of other stuff into your routine. But this definitely does seem to help. It definitely takes down the inflammation. It kind of just gives my skin a layer of calm that I need, especially when we're dealing with all the sweat, with all the heat, with all the humidity, with all the actives, right? And the hot water and all the things that can test your skin. This just kind of helps you bounce back. Numbuzin #3 Blue Bio Retinol Pore Refining Serum. Now, before I get into my review, I want to let you know I have done some sponsor content, some SponCon with Numbuzin for this particular product just a few weeks ago. So I want to let you know I do have a relationship with the brand, particularly around this product. That being said, this video, this review, this is not sponsored at all. I have no obligation to talk about Numbuzin or about this product at all. outside of that video. So I just want to let you know where that relationship lies and the fact that I just really like this and I want to talk about it in this month's video because it has actually helped my skin quite a bit. Now talk about summer bummer, right? All of that sweat, all of that heat. My T-zone is quite oily right now, right? Like this is combo skin, classic combo skin. It's getting really oily and it's really gunking up. My nose was looking really bad, was really looking quite gnarly, and really full of like blackheads. And also just the texture was not looking very good. And all the blackheads were just kind of making the pores look a lot bigger. And the texture was very uneven and just kind of dull looking. And I will say, I do find that my retinaldehyde, you know, I use the Polish Choice, does tend to keep that under control, but I've been trying to scale that back as the temperatures have been going up, as the UV index has been going up, because as I mentioned, summer bummer, right? When I'm aggressively using those types of ingredients, I do get more photosensitive. No matter how good I am with my sunscreen, no matter how good I am with seeking shade and hats and stuff, I do still want to enjoy this season. And so I find that a lot of time in the sun stresses out my skin. And part of the reason is because of those actives. So this was kind of an intriguing product to me because yes, it has retinol in it. That's really not the ingredient story that's happening here, quite honestly. What this really is this is a 10% niacinamide serum. You're getting a kiss of retinol, and that is helping the main claims of this product, which is pore refinement. So I want to make that very clear because I know folks are like, are you still using Polish Choice? Are you using this now? Like, is this replacing it? And it's not a replacement because it's not an equal product. It's in a different category, although it is using a retinol in it. So let's dive into the ingredients here. 10% of niacinamide. Now, this is a really good ingredient for exactly what I was talking about. Textures, blackheads, excessive oil, dull looking skin. Niacinamide, especially at 10%, I have found this to be true throughout my skincare adventures and exploration, particularly good for pore refinement. So they are also using some salicylic acid in here. Now that's a great chemical exfoliant that is going to be able to get into that clogged up pore, into that blackhead, and help to exfoliate it and help to clean it out over time. And then yes, they are using a liposome retinol in here. It's a very small, very gentle quantity of retinol. This is meant to be a gentle formula. The inclusion here, though, is helpful because a little bit of that collagen stimulating ingredient, in addition to niacinamide, which is also a collagen stimulating ingredient, by the way, it helps to boost out that collagen stimulation process between those two ingredients. And you need that. This is often the step that folks miss when they're looking to refine the texture in their skin. They're just concentrated on the exfoliation, but they don't concentrate on the collagen stimulation. And that's what helps you after you've cleaned your pore out and it's still looking all stretched out and obvious and big. You need the collagen stimulation because pores don't open and close, right? They get stretched out, they get full of gunk, but the only way that you're going to refine them and make them look smoother and make them look smaller is the collagen stimulation, because that's going to help to strengthen and prop up the lining of the pore, the structure of the pore. When you have a stronger collagen structure and protein structure of the pore, it just looks smaller, right? When it's all saggy, you know, think about your skin, right? When it doesn't have a good collagen structure, it's a little bit loose. The elasticity is not as good. When you are stimulating lots of collagen, your skin is firmer. And that's the same with your pore. You want to firm up your pore, right? You can't open and close it, but you can firm it up, and that is going to smooth it out. So I wanted to explain those ingredients a little bit better for y'all as well, because yes, the name says retinol. There is retinol in here, but the focus of this product is your pores. It's not 100% on well aging. And that's how I'm using it. I'm using it for my nose, and I actually started to get really good results in about 2 weeks using this. Now, I have replaced some of my retinaldehyde from Polish Choice. I have replaced some nights with this one, and that worked out pretty nicely, especially to kind of get those immediate 2 weeks, right? Results with the pores. Now what I've really been finding myself doing a lot more is actually just applying this to my T-zone, because I'm finding that it's actually helping a lot more with the oil that I'm getting there. I'm just not getting that kind of oil production in my U zone. This area is still dry and dehydrated. I do think that it is a good pore refining serum. I think it's a good niacinamide serum. Next, I want to talk about Sniff Crumb Couture Eau de Toilette. This is actually, I think, the first time I've ever talked about a scent on my channel. I'm pretty sure it is. Maybe I did once before, but I don't think so. I've actually been getting a lot more into like perfume and things like that more recently. I've really been enjoying that, which is kind of odd because I feel like I've built my channel on being fragrance free, especially in skincare and face products, definitely. But I've been sort of branching out a little bit over the last couple of years. And yeah, I've been getting more into scents. So this one was actually sent to me by the brand, just so you know that. But I was like, ooh, I'm very intrigued by the concept of this scent because Crumb Couture, this is actually inspired by a croissant. This actually has notes of like the butteriness, the jamminess, the almond kind of notes to it. And this whole brand is all about like those food scents, right? The gourmand scents. And I'm really into that. I really enjoy that. And so I was like, yeah, I'll give it a whirl. I'll give it a try. And I did not expect to like this as much as I do. So let me tell you about the notes that they say are in here. Definitely, yeah, a croissant. It definitely talks about wild berry jam, like a jamminess to this, toasted vanilla, black currant, as well as tonka bean and sandalwood. I actually think that this is a fairly accurate description. This definitely has I call it a sophisticated kind of a warm vanilla scent to it. And that's really, I think, the sandalwood kind of coming out there and balancing out. So it's not just like sugar sweet. You know what I mean? Sometimes vanilla can just be really like sugary. And it's just like, it's just like not really what I'm into. There's a gravity to this, you know, there's the undertones of this, a little spiciness to this that helps to ground it that I really like and really kind of elevate the scent of this beyond just like something that was like, oh, yeah, I'm spraying food all over my body. I'm just spraying like cake and frosting, which, hey, that's okay too. But I personally do enjoy something with a little bit more of the grounded undertone to it. And I feel like this has that. When I first sprayed on, I definitely get that jammy black currant kind of a scent to it. My body chemistry, and you know what? When you put scents on different bodies, it always settles a little bit differently. So at first I smell it when I spray it. As it settles into my skin, it does have a little bit more, like I said, the sandalwood, that toasted vanilla, the tonka bean. It definitely kind of takes on that sort of smell, and I really enjoy it. I think it smells really attractive. It works with my body chemistry really nicely. But what really surprised me about this one is how long lasting it is. It has really good throw for sure, but it actually lasts a super long time. I wasn't really expecting that, quite honestly. This lasts throughout the day for me personally. Just one little like, you know, middle of the body kind of a spray, and then I'm off and I'm still smelling it at the end of the day, and sometimes even the next day if I didn't like shower down. And I will say I like little details, especially for these types of, you know, products that maybe you keep on your vanity or whatever. I was kind of really delighted by this magnetic cap. It seems so silly, but I actually just really like details like that. And it's just really, I don't know, there's just something about it that I just find really fun and fidgety, right? I like that too. Just got a whiff of it. I was like, oh, I love this. So yeah, I've been wearing this all month long. I really enjoy it. One thing also I want to tell you about this that I also really appreciate, when you get the bottle, they actually send you a sample with it. And that is so smart because, like I was saying before, scents work differently on everybody. I think it's just such a smart concept. You get the trial size. That's what I've been using, the trial size. And so you can actually test out and see if you like it. If you don't like it and you haven't used this part, you know, this bottle yet, you can return it. There's some little details in here that I think are really smart, but at the end of the day, this smells bomb. I love it and it lasts. I just want to do a quick shout out to the Haruharu Airyfit Daily Moisture Sunscreen. Now, this was actually a favorite in August of 2024. And while I'm not opposed to repeating favorites through the monthly videos, I do try not to do that. It definitely is a space for some newer, you know, products, but sometimes things do creep back around. And this one, I can't ignore how hard this product has crept back around for me this summer. I have been cheating on the Skin 1004 sunscreen, the Hyaluronic sunscreen a little bit, quite honestly. You know, I always say, oh, I love the Skin 104, the Hyaluronic, it's the one I always use, blah, 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 blah. And yes, that's true. That still is true. Very much so. But all of a sudden, I noticed myself this summer saying the Haruharu Airyfit has definitely been my go-to daily sunscreen recently. And that kind of surprised me. I've always enjoyed this sunscreen. It has a very interesting texture. It's almost, I describe it almost balm-like, almost ointment-like, because it doesn't have that watery, wet essence-like feel that a lot of KBD sunscreens are well known for. And it doesn't have that like greasy, creamy, kind of traditional sunscreen texture that a lot of like Western and European types of sunscreens have. This is actually something kind of different. It's still light and elegant and spreads really beautifully in a nice thin layer, but it's not wet, so it actually dries on your skin really quickly. It offers a nice amount of moisture without being like a full-on heavy cream texture, but it's actually been performing so good for me. And it is because it's not so shiny and because it's not so wet and because it doesn't have that super emollient kind of, I hate to use the word greasy, right? But like that kind of really moisturizing, greasy kind of feel that a lot of like sunscreens can have. And that has changed the game for me with makeup, especially. I do like to do very light makeup in the summer, but I do still like to wear it. I just really enjoy it. And I find that I can skip out on primer when I'm using this. And that was always something I knew about this sunscreen, that it worked really well underneath makeup. And you could often skip primer because it dries on the skin so fast. It just has this nice, almost velvety, neutral type of finish on the skin. And it does seem to have a tiny bit of grip to it as well. And that definitely aids makeup application. But I'm talking about makeup in humidity. It was 106 degrees today with 60% humidity. And I don't have to do touch-ups when I use this sunscreen. And I skip out on primer and I just put on my light kind of like skin tint, my complexion stick from Merit. I did a short on this if you're curious about what I'm talking about, but I'll use that with no primer, just with this sunscreen, do some brows, curl my lashes. I don't even wear mascara, right? Maybe a little bold lippy, little blush, and I'm good to go. And I don't do touch-ups throughout the day. And nothing is creasing, breaking up, caking up, wearing down on me at all. I've been shocked. Now it's time for the inner glow, the portion of the video where I talk about self-care practices that help me glow from the inside out this month, because it's not just about what we put on the outside, right? It's about how we glow from the inside. And so, you know, this month I wanted to talk about simplicity and how it really is something that can help us make room for what really matters in our life. And I know I've talked about simplicity in the past, but I've really been thinking about it a lot this month because it's kind of a long story, so I'm not going to go into it, but I actually had to pack up all my skincare this month. I do have a skincare closet. So embarrassing. I do have a skincare closet, and I usually have my skincare arranged by like toners and essences, serums, moisturizers, sunscreens, and I can just kind of browse everything, kind of see everything that I have, and it's really helpful for creating content, right? But I actually had to clear that closet out and I had to pack away the skincare, which was like, I don't want to do this. It was like a big job. But not only that, it's like it had to stay packed away for a while, which means I had to only rely on the skincare that I had on hand. And so it was a very limited selection. I had to be very mindful about what I was choosing to include in that selection of what I was going to be using for the next couple of weeks, because I wasn't going to be rummaging through bins and all of that seems really chaotic, right? So it was like, you know, what am I going to select? A couple toners, a couple serums, right? Moisturizer or two, maybe a sunscreen or two, but like it's a very minimal selection. And I was really nervous about having to do that, stressed about it. But you know, the interesting thing is simplifying the selection, the choice, right? Simplifying my routine in a way actually made my routines just like stress-free. Not that I usually have a lot of stress around it, but it's like the decision fatigue was gone, right? I wasn't like, oh, what should I be using? I should be using this, but what about everything was streamlined. It was just like, I know I use this, I use this, I use this, and I'm just enjoying my skincare. I'm not thinking about it too much. I'm just enjoying the process of it. I'm staying consistent with my products. And it was really refreshing. It really inspired me to think about the idea of like slimming things down, about simplifying, and how much like peace and clarity that it can actually bring to you. I'm also thinking about other areas of embracing simplicity. You know, I'm thinking especially where I spend my time. You know, my schedule, especially my work schedule, but also my social schedule. Not only how I'm spending my time, but maybe who I'm spending my time or giving my time away to. I think it's so easy for us to jam pack our schedules and just add more and more and more. And we're often thinking about how can I do more? You know, how can I be in more places? How can I show up more? But we very seldom think about how can I take back my time? How can I spend less time? Am I really spending time on the things that actually matter? Am I giving my time away, you know, to people who don't appreciate it? And so I started thinking about things like that as well, and really thinking about how can I simplify my schedule? How can I simplify my work? Maybe thinking about stripping some things away, right? Because I find that when I'm jam-packed, it's like noise, it's clutter. It's like, it's just like this all the time, and you're going here and you're going there, and you have to juggle this and you have to and there's no time to breathe, there's no time to think. And especially as somebody who is creative, especially as somebody who likes to tap into their intuition, I do find that if I don't clear that clutter and that space to just be, I can't tap into that because it's too loud, you know? And so it's about making space. Simplifying is about making space for the things that actually matter. Simplifying is actually going, I don't actually need an entire closet full of skincare, because the reality is I really don't, right? I have one, but I don't actually need it. I just needed this simple pared down amount of skincare products. And yes, I can still make content, and yes, I can still take care of my skin. I don't need all of that. And in fact, all of that was actually making things a bit more complicated. Same with the clothes, and same with your time, same with your relationships and with people in your life too. Sometimes, you know, we got to get out of that mindset of more. And sometimes we have to think about how can I scale back? So I guess my biggest tip for this, if you want to implement simplicity in your life, whether it is in your skincare routine, your closet, or somewhere else in your schedule or in your relationships, I guess the biggest question that I've been asking myself over and over is what feels good? What feels good? What feels right? What feels true? And so I asked that about, you know, skincare, because I am actually, now that I'm unpacking some of that stuff, I don't want to keep all of it actually. And so beyond just stuff that I'm like, it irritated my skin or it's expired, there's a lot of that going on. But there actually are some products that kind of fall in a gray area that I'm like, I don't actually enjoy this though. You know, was the Marie Kondo, does this spark joy? I don't actually enjoy it. And so I'm actually at peace with letting that go. And so I've actually taken that into, like I said, I've been trying to pare back how I'm spending my time. And often I'm, you know, before I say yes to something, I'm asking myself, my body and my mind, does it feel good? Does it feel right? Does it feel true? Before I answer, because, you know, I think it can get kind of complicated and jam-packed when we say yes to everything. But if we take a minute, right, to say, does this feel good? Does this feel true? Then, you know what I mean? It's a lot easier to be like, no, I'm not, that's not for me, or I'm not giving my time to that. Or maybe it's a full body yes, and then yes, you go for it. But I think that question, that key question, I don't think we ask ourselves this question enough, right? That key question actually opens up the concept of simplicity. And when you embrace that, and when you practice that often, you will find things start to flow a lot better. Things start to feel peaceful. There is more clarity. There is less chaos. There is less noise. There's less stress. So now it's your turn to let me know all of your favorite products from the month of July, or maybe a self-care lesson that you've been embracing this month. Let me know in the comments below. Now, if you enjoyed this video, you made it all the way to the end and you still haven't hit subscribe, please come join our skincare community, especially if you love skincare and self-care, because that's what my channel is all about. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I love you so much, and I just want to encourage you to keep shining your light. I love you so much. I hope you had an amazing July, and I can't wait to see you in August. I'll talk to you later. Bye.